Hello, Architecture 2. Today we're going to talk about a new part of this assignment, remodel design. And this is kind of an assignment within an assignment. And this is the assignment page that you see right now on my screen. And just to kind of go over this, and I wanted to go over it because some of it might be a little bit complicated. Maybe not, but the objective is that students will understand the design of a split level structure using existing and additional levels of construction. Second objective is that students will become familiar with the concept of lumber grading. Okay, now that's a concept I've been meaning to bring in because it ties into wall heights. Okay, lumber grading ties into wall heights. The activity that you're going to do on this one is to view the video tutorial, bookmark a web page, and I'm going to show you that web page. Take notes regarding lumber grades and split level design, and then send me a photograph of your notes when completed. All right, so the lumber grade web page is right here. You just click on that, and I think it will take you directly to the web page. Yes, it will. Okay, and this is about lumber grades. Now, up until this point, you have been working with wall heights that are 8 feet tall. And the reason we've been doing that is because it is the most common wall height. Why is it the most common wall height? Because at 8 feet, that is where you can use the cheapest lumber. Most of your houses, even my house, maybe your house, maybe not. But if you just live in a regular old house, chances are they have, right around 8 feet walls, and they used what they call utility grade lumber, maybe a little higher grade, like a level 2 grade lumber. But utility grade lumber, it says in the building code that utility grade lumber can only be used for walls up to 8 feet tall. Anything over 8 feet tall, you must use anywhere from a level 2, a level 1, or even what they call, I forget what they call it now, but there we go. The select structural lumber, or select grade lumber. And I think there's probably a couple of names running around out there with that name, or something that's related to that name. But what they use to grade lumber and its quality is things like this. The lumber at the lumber mill. At the lumber mill, they cut the trees down into lumber, and they grade it based on, is it bowed? Does it have cracks in it, or what they call checks? These are the cracks. Is it crooked? Is it kind of cupped shape? Does it have a lot of knots in it? This right here is shake, whatever that means, but it looks like a big split between grains. More splits right here in the lumber twist, and then a wane where one side of the lumber is kind of shaved off, it looks like, probably because it was at the end of the tree close to the bark. But anyway, that stuff you really don't need to know specifically because you're not going to be grading lumber. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be selecting lumber in order to design your house. So if you're going to design a house with 10-foot walls, which on this design, you may go up to a 10-foot wall, and I'm going to show you that in a minute with what I was working on my design, a 10-foot wall, and why I'm doing a 10-foot wall. But just know this is something that you do want to write down. Number 3 lumber. Okay, number 3 lumber is utility grade lumber. The way this website has it, they have a number 3, and then they have a construction grade lumber, which I'm assuming those are probably very close to the same grade of lumber, and you can only go up to an 8-foot wall. Okay, it is cheaper lumber. It's still good. They typically won't build a house if it's going to fall down on the occupants, because then, of course, there is a chain of responsibility there. But this is what code talks about when it says you can only use utility grade lumber to build a house up to a number, or up to a 8. All right, so I had to go do something else there real quick, and I don't remember exactly where I was at. I know I was talking about lumber grade, and this is your number 3. This is your utility grade lumbers right in here. Now, of course, when you start talking about building higher walls, 9 feet, 10 feet, then you want to start looking at using number 2 and even number 1, or even select structural lumber or select grade lumber. There's even more options other than that. Using metal studs is an option. Using engineered studs is also another option where you can take your walls, 10, 12 feet high if you want to. 10 feet is really the most common as far as going over 8 feet. So if you have ceiling heights or wall heights that are 8 feet tall, if you have anything other than that, it's probably going to be between that 8 foot and 10 foot. Anywhere up to 9, up to 10 feet. And if you live in town, I'm trying to think in Harker Heights, they have a lot of houses that are built that way. Usually built by a company called Carruthers Homes would build those, and I think Purser Homes also will build some houses with the taller walls. But you'll see those in some houses. The house you live in may have taller ceiling heights and taller walls as well. But anyway, I just wanted to get into that because I know, you probably would have questions. Okay, I've been doing 8-foot walls, and I'm going to do some 10-foot walls. So what justifies that? What justifies that is using a different material, a better material to actually that can hold the weight at that height. Because if you take a 2x4, a big stick, and if it's not a good piece and you put pressure on it, it's liable to bend. But if it's a better piece of lumber and you put pressure on it, and it's more likely not to bend, or it's more likely that it can hold heavier weight than a lesser grade lumber. So that is the gist of all of that. In that last part there, that's kind of where you would have been taking notes as far as understanding what the different grades are used for. And actually, this one has a higher grade, probably about... This one goes even up to a utility grade lumber, and I just really noticed that by looking at it, but typically number 3 is your utility grade. So these are all probably really close to that. And you can read the descriptions to find out exactly what grades these are, or actually what consists of those particular grades. So that's the whole story behind wall heights and why you can use wall heights. So let's go back to Revit, and I'm going to talk about levels. Okay, so we have an existing level. I'll go ahead and show you in 3D view how I did this. Now this right here that I just highlighted, that is my existing level. That is the 25 by 35, I believe it was. And it would typically be made of wood. Now, I told you not to worry about materials on this design. We are just doing a concept. So I just use generic materials. It depends on how much aesthetic appeal you want to be in your design itself as to whether you would actually change that to wood or not. That's up to you. So all my floors are made of just generic 12-inch. Okay, so this is the existing level. This is the existing front porch, and you see I did kind of drop that down just a little bit, just going by what I've seen in the past. And they build a house, and typically they add the porch on afterwards. And, sometimes it's at a little bit lower level. You definitely don't want it at a higher level because then you'll trip on it walking out of the house. But a lot of times, the porches do tend to be a little bit lower level than on the inside of the house. For various, I'm sure 1,000 different reasons. And then this is the new addition right here. This is the new stuff. This would be a concrete slab on the ground. Okay, and then you see I transitioned down to that concrete slab with steps. And I don't know, I really just put these stairs here to get just a point of reference. Those steps may change. They may move. They may change in size and style. I've even got the stairwell that's in the middle of the house that divides the kitchen from the living room. And as I said, we're remodeling that stairs. We're not using the switchback. We're using a straight set of stairs. Now, typically on an old house like this, if you do a lot of remodeling, you would be required to rebuild the stairs, especially if you're going to mess with any of this part of the structure, because older houses typically don't have stairways that are up to code. They're narrow. In this particular staircase, this is the just out of the box Revit staircase that has, let's see, So I can get the riser height. So the maximum riser height is 7 inches. The minimum tread depth is 11 inches. Older stairs, a lot of times, do not meet those requirements. I have been on some that were no more than maybe about 8 inches for a tread depth. Tread depth, or the tread, is the part you stand on as you're walking up and down the stairs. And when those are narrow, it's very easy to lose your footing. I have lost my footing on an old set of stairs before and slid down them. Wasn't very, very good. Same with the risers. Sometimes you get higher riser heights. This is a maximum of 7 inch, which that keeps it right in code. Sometimes you'll have risers that are higher than that. And it really just depends on who built the house and what they needed at the time. And 100 years ago, there were no codes that governed step heights or riser or tread depths or anything like that. So I'm putting in a new set of steps with code compliant risers and treads. But I did this whole thing just like this, just so I can get a point of reference. You don't have to do it this way. I mean, you are going to have 2 levels. You're going to have the existing level, and then you're going to have a new level. Okay, the new level is going to be the concrete slab. Existing level is going to be the wood floor that is already there. Now, to start that out with, going to my south view, and I'm just going to focus over here on my levels. When you first start this up, start your Revit design, it's going to have 2 levels. It's going to have level 1 and level 2. There'll be 10 feet between those 2 levels. So I kept those 2 levels and I just added to them and renamed them. Level 1, I kept the same. Level 1 is at 0 foot, 0 inches. And that's going to be my new level. You don't have to put these annotations out here unless you feel like you need to. I felt like I needed to just so I could remember. I could look at this and remember what I was doing. Like I said, when you start working on a project like this, things start to run together and get confusing. But my new level is the top height of my concrete floor, the new stuff, the new additions that I'm adding. Level 1B, that is going to be the existing level of the wood floor. So I went ahead and marked that, and I just arbitrarily chose 2 feet. And you'll see why I chose 2 feet, because Revit already gave me a 10-foot level 2. So what I did is I renamed that top of wall level 1 and 1B. Here's where the wall heights come in, okay? Because this is going to be the wall height, the top of wall height for both of my levels, my level 1 and my level 1B. So if you subtract 2 feet from 10 feet, you have 8-foot walls, which that would be the original existing walls, 8 feet. The new construction is going to be at ground level on a concrete slab, just to make things easier, just to make construction easier and design easier. I'm just going to run those walls up 10 feet. That way they'll be the same height as the existing ceiling. Okay, so the wall heights will be at the same height. The ceilings will be at the same level. Of course, you can decide to do that differently if you want. You can put your ceiling height a little bit lower if you want to on the bottom level. It's strictly up to you. If it gets confusing and you're not sure what you want to do, just kind of do exactly what I do. That would be one thing you could do. All right, now, of course, we always have space between the floor, and back in the old days, of course, they would probably use 2x4s or even 2x6s to put between the floors. I'm going to say that the people who built this house were, a little bit more advanced than that, and they used 2x12s. So what I did is I created a floor level 2 at 11 feet, which is exactly 1 foot above the ceiling level. And I will go in and do some more adjusting to that as I finish out my design. When I put my floors in and everything like that, I'll make some adjustments to that. So my level 2 might go up a little bit. Same with ceiling level 2, it might go up a little bit as well. Ceiling level 2 is at 19 feet. It's basically 8 feet above floor level 2, which again, that already exists. I'm not sure if I'm going to take my new construction all the way up to the second level. I might not. I might take that space that's inside level 2 and just leave it like it is. Leave 2 bedrooms up there, and that's it. 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. That way the 2 kids can share that. If there are, however many kids, I don't know. I didn't put that in the scenario, so who knows? I'm just assuming. Okay. And then, of course, putting a master bedroom with a bigger living room on the, or an expanded living room on the second floor. And actually what I have decided to do, this is pretty neat. If I go up to my level 1, oops, wrong floor. Okay, so here, this was the original part of the house. This would have been the living area, kind of like the living room. Kitchen is over here. Okay. What I decided to do is I decided to make this sort of a open dining room. So this is going to be an open dining area. And then down here is going to be the actual living room. I might end up expanding the slab just a little bit out this way in order to accommodate that. But then again, this is pretty good. This is a decent size for a living room. I got 11 feet this way. And then of course, from here to here, that's 30 or 25 feet for the span in that direction. Okay. But there's tons of things that can happen as I go along. There's tons of things that can happen as you go along in your design. This is purely creative, okay? Purely creative. So about the only thing technical is that split level situation, okay? Again, making those levels. You might want to rewind back to that and view that again if it's confusing, setting up those levels. And then, of course, in my 3D view again, you can sort of see how all that goes together. Okay. All right. So my front porch again was already existing. You can make this front porch any size you want to. I made mine 6 feet, extended 6 feet out from the house. Porches back in those days were typically large. Like I said in my scenario, sometimes people would sleep. It would actually be another bedroom. They would sleep on the front porch. Sometimes that front porch will be screened in to protect from bugs and mosquitoes and things. Sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes they just covered up in those blankets and just hoped the mosquitoes wouldn't bother them. But it was much cooler during the summertime that way in certain places. So that really doesn't, that might have some effect on your design. It might not. Okay. But that's everything in a nutshell. And I'll show you more videos as I go along. And if you have any requests, if there's something you don't know how to do, if you have any requests, then just let me know and I'll make a video showing everyone how to do that. Okay. So good luck. Please send me any questions that you have.